I want to talk to you today about the silence game, also known as making a silence. In the green room, we often call it making a silence. Um, this is one of the very few collective activities that the children all participate in together at once. Um, the other one is walking on the line. It's the other collective activity. Another important thing to note about silence is that it's not imposed on children for the convenience of the adult. For instance, if the room is loud, we don't call a silence game so that the room can quiet down. This is something that children are invited to participate in. Also important to note that the silence game is not a competition. It's not a competition to see who can be the quietest or who can be the quietest the longest. Nothing like that. The silence game stems from an actual incident that happened with Maria Montessori. She was in the Children's House one day, and a mother and a young infant were visiting, and Montessori challenged the children that she was with to be as still and quiet as the visiting infant. And she found that not only could children do it, but it pleased them to do it. So she implemented it in the room. So it's not something that children are introduced to right away. We really feel like children need to have a lot of experience exercising their own free will in the classroom before we will introduce the silence game, and we don't introduce it unless we're really reasonably sure that most people can do it and would be willing to participate, because that's really an important aspect of it. So while the children are experiencing the exercising of their own free will in the classroom, they're really coming to understand that their mind can will their body into action. And even though children might not be able to play the silence game successfully from the very beginning, there are little games you can play throughout the year to sort of prepare them for it, little practices. For instance, when we're walking on the line, you could say, I'm going to try to walk on the line and not make any noise at all. Let me see if I can do it. Or you could say, let me see if I can walk across the room without making any noise at all. Or let me see if I can just sit as still as I can and keep my body as quiet and my voice as quiet as I can be. It's something that we like to do before we all eat together. For instance, if we're having a birthday snack as a group, or at lunchtime, the group's a little bit smaller, and usually after we get lunch all set up, the children always wait for everyone to be ready, because that's a polite thing to do. And once everyone's ready, I'll say, well, when you're ready, you can let your hands rest in your lap and join the silence. So we just sit in silence for a few minutes, just listening before we sing a song before the meal, and then begin to eat together. So this is something that you can do at your home before a meal, or just as a little game. See if I can be as quiet as I can be. And then when we play it in the classroom, we have a little card that says silence. It has a beautiful, peaceful picture on one side and silence on the other. And when I'm reasonably sure that all of us can participate in it, I'll invite them to make a silence with me. And I'll go to one part of the room and very, very quietly call their names one by one, and they silently come to join. And then we all sit together just in peace and silence for a few moments. And it's a lot like meditation, but it really provides relaxation and refreshment for people, and it allows the child the realization that he has an inner life and he can still himself to be in touch with it. So if you're willing, or your child is willing, I invite you to play silence at home. Enjoy.